The pandemic changed the way of life for most people around the world. Everyone had to live a life in quarantine. But do you know when and where the practice of quarantine was first put to use? It was in Venice more than 600 years ago to protect the Italian mainland from the threat of the bubonic plague. Here's a report. These are docks of the island of Lazaretto Nuovo, known also as the Lazaret in Venice, Italy. It was here that the word quarantine originated more than 600 years ago. Born from the need to protect citizens from the early waves of the bubonic plague.
Venezia è stata la prima ad adottare il sistema dell'isolamento, cioè usare le isole.
Venice was the first to adopt the system of isolation, that is to make use of the islands and the characteristics of its own territory, formed of an archipelago of bigger and smaller islands spread across the lagoon. Two of these islands were chosen as isolation places for the sick in the mid-1400s. Another island, the Lazaret, called Novo, as places for sanitary prevention. The Venetian Republic understood that isolation was the only way to limit the spread of the plague. In the 1400s, ships, goods and their crews arriving from the east were required to isolate before continuing their journey to the mainland.
La peste arrivava a Venezia soprattutto per via di mare.
The plague used to come to Venice mostly from the sea and from the ships. Each ship was a potential bacteriological bomb. Aboard those ships were the black mice coming from Africa or the East, bringing the parasites and transmitting the disease to the men through the Yersinia pestis bacterium and causing the plague infection. There was no medicine or no cure, so the Venetians adopted the only system possible at that time, precautionary isolation. Passengers, crews and the precious loads in the galleys were required to spend a period of about 40 days, called in Venetian quarantina. This was roughly the period of time believed to be necessary to avoid contagion. Testimonies of the island's rich past can be seen in the depot. People would leave their trace on the walls that now bear witness to the thousands that spent weeks here in isolation.
Sono scritture bellissime che riportano sia dei disegni di navi che
They are wonderful writings and drawings of ships that testify the maritime shipping arriving to the Lazaret. When the ships, the Venetian galleys, coming from the Orient arrived in Venice, both the goods and the crews would stay here for a period of about 40 days. From this comes the word quarantine.
Today, the depot is a museum where Venetian boats and artifacts from Lazaret Island and other parts of the lagoon are on display. Artists also recreate artifacts from the bygone era, including the unique big mask and costumes of the 16th century plague doctor. The costume is still popular in modern-day Italian carnival. Bureau Report, WION World is One. That's it on this broadcast. This is me, Shobhit Mittal, signing off for now, but news and updates will continue on WION. Stay tuned.